Hey, everybody. Very special guest today. Maria Shriver is going to join us, and her son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, just couldn't be happier. This is about, we're going to talk about their new brain bar. I love that so much. And uh,
Hi,
hi, I
how
am
are
awesome.
we?
How are you?
I'm great. I look kind of cloudy down there, do I? Oh, now I'm a little bit better. I look a little cloudy. I don't feel cloudy, but my picture looks a little
Well, if
cloudy.
you're in Southern California, it's been cloudy for 6 months.
This is
I've
true.
been
How are you, my
really,
friend?
really great. And thinking about you, Dan Buettner and I were hanging out together, and we were talking about how much we appreciate you. And I thought we should do this together.
That's right. He sent me a photo of you both. I was like, oh, there are two men I love hanging out. Why aren't I at that table? But you're in Miami. And he was like, okay, next time we get together, you'll be at the table too. So I was excited about that because I was like, they're my two pals, having dinner, probably having a lot of laughs, talking about brain healthy food, talking about the blue zones, talking about your work. And I said, I definitely should have been at
Well,
that
it
table.
was really fun. How have you been?
I've been great. I've been great. Life is good. My work is good. The women's Alzheimer's movement continues to flourish and do good work. MOSH is super exciting. Love working with my son. We're excited about all the new flavors. I'm going to wait to show you a new flavor that we just got into the office today
Here
because
I am.
Patrick, oh,
Oh, it's a
there's
little dark in
Patrick.
here.
It's really dark in my
How are you?
picture.
Patrick,
Yeah,
so
it's
nice
really
to
dark.
see you.
How you doing?
I am having a good day. Excited to both of you with all of the people that follow me. I want them to learn about MOSH, and I want them preventing Alzheimer's. Women, I'm very excited.
That's great.
Well, thank you, Dr. Emmett. You've been really out in front, talking about changing brains, change your life, change your brain, change your brain, change your life, long before it was popular. When I was looking around, who else is talking about brain health? You are one of the lone figures out there at trying to demystify the brain, try to talk to people about their own relationship with the brain. And we've been trying to do that with MOSH, talking about nurturing your brain, feeding your brain. What you put into your brain is within your power, and you've been so out front on all of that, which has been
Yeah, no,
terrific.
when you start looking at the brain, we've been looking at it now for 33 years. You realize you have a lot more control over it. But the one scary statistic with Alzheimer's disease is it starts in the brain decades before
Mm,
people have any symptoms. So now is the
right.
time to be on a brain healthy program.
That's what do you suggest all the time? I mean, we always talk about eating, and I want to show you our new, brand new, because it just came in. Patrick hasn't even seen it. This is our new cookies and cream. It just came out, and I've already started eating it. But we talk a lot, and I've spoken to you, Dr. Amen, about feeding the brain and feeding the brain with nutrients that are good for you. But what do you also tell
So if you
people
want to
to do?
keep your brain healthy or rescue it, you
Mm,
have to prevent or treat the 11 major risk factors that steal your mind. And we know what they are. So I have a mnemonic I like called Bright Minds. B is for blood flow. Low blood flow is the number one brain imaging predictor of Alzheimer's disease. And so if you're not exercising, and the one thing that we're not talking about that we need to is obesity. Of the 11 risk factors, if you're overweight or obese, well, you now have seven of them.
Wow.
Because being overweight lowers blood flow, increases aging, stores toxins, changes your hormones. But people have such bad diets and options. Like,
Yeah.
all of us travel, you go through the airport, none of the options
Yeah.
will kill you early. So I'm so glad you're coming up with something that people can eat that's delicious and nutritious.
Yeah, that was our goal, right, Patrick? We kept saying, like, how do we make it delicious and nutritious, and how do we also make it fun? Taking care of your brain. How do we make it fun? How do we make it so it's not scary? How do we invite people into thinking that they have control, like you said, that they can actually get involved at Patrick's age, right? I know you work with a lot of young people. Do you find that they're interested in how to become friends with their brain, or how to
More and more.
optimize their brain?
I don't know if you know, I was on the Kardashian show, which has gotten more fame than anything else I've done. And
Wow.
they were very interested in taking care of their brain. Or it's public that I've been seeing Justin Bieber, and he said, I think I get what you're trying to tell me. My brain is an organ, like my heart is an organ. If you told me I had heart problems, I'd do everything you said. And so we need those young voices talking about, it's not just worried about Alzheimer's when you're older. It's, well, how do you make good decisions now? How do you become more successful now?
Right.
And your brain and your brain's health. So, Maria, I don't know that people on my channel know why you became so passionate about Alzheimer's. Can you talk about?
Sure, I'd love to. Well, my father, Sergeant Shriver, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2003. And I was a journalist at the time. I actually was about to become First Lady of California. So once I got his diagnosis, I started to research it like any good journalist to try to understand what was happening inside the brain of somebody who was as smart as my father. He was really the smartest human being I'd ever met or ever have met, actually. And to see a brain like that go from storing that kind of intelligence, those kinds of facts and figures, to not knowing what a fork was, led me on this odyssey to try to understand what Alzheimer's was, what it did to the brain. It led me to report out to the nation for the first time that it disproportionately impacted women. To discover that we didn't have the research into women's brains and or bodies. So I started the Women's Alzheimer's Movement to fund research. We partnered a couple of years ago with the Cleveland Clinic. So we're there now. We have a prevention center. And as I traveled around the country, people always asked me for food. What can I eat? How do I get control? And so Patrick, when he moved in to live with me during COVID, said, listen, Mommy, you're a protein bar fanatic. You've always talked about this. Bet on yourself. Go out and give people what they've asked you to do so you can hand them something other than a book or a documentary that you've done in the past. And so that began our working relationship with this company. And we fund gender-based research at the Women's Alzheimer's Movement at the Cleveland Clinic.
No,
Patrick, do you want to add
you
anything
nailed it
to that?
on the head. I mean, I think that, one of the important things you talked about was really, people starting now at my age. And I think one of the best things that I've learned from working with my mom and really kind of immersing myself in this brain health research and raising money for Alzheimer's is that, we are in the driver's seat. I'm 29 years old. There are things that I can do today that could help my brain health, in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and so on and so forth. And diet is obviously one of the main pillars for that. Dr. Avon, you probably know all the others and can talk about it in more in depth than I could. But I think we really wanted to create a company that could raise money for Alzheimer's, that could educate consumers about what they eat impacts their brain health, and how can we meet customers where they are, and really find ways to provide a quote unquote healthier alternative to what they were eating. And so it was really hard to create. You know, my mom was really adamant about having no added sugars and, you know, healthy nutrient fats and omegas for brain health, and vitamin B12 and D3, and, you know, some functional mushrooms like lion's mane and ashwagandha and all these different things. And it wasn't easy to get it to taste really great, but we got there eventually, and it's been a really fun experience. And it's just been really, really cool, I think, how many people are kind of buying it for other people. You know, we have a lot of, you know, people that we've touched that are people my age that are 29 that are buying it for their family or their parents, or parents that are buying it for their kids. And they're starting to have this conversation like we are right here about brain health. And that's the whole purpose of our companies, that we're a mission-driven company aimed to educate consumers about what they eat impacts their brain health. And through our food and through our conversations like this, I think we're trying to do so.
So I love ashwagandha, and I own Brain MD, and it's in a number of our, and the reason I love ashwagandha so much is it helps calm people, but they also have better focus. And so it's not caffeine to focus, but you feel anxious, or a benzo to calm you, but then you feel stupid. It helps. Lion's mane was also scientific research to help with cognitive function, but also immunity. And, you know, in the age of the pandemic, you want your immunity to be healthy and strong. There's a question that came up with how much of Alzheimer's is genetic. And, you know, my take on genes is, you know, you might have one of the genes or even both of them associated with Alzheimer's, but genes aren't a death sentence. What they should be is a wake-up call.
Right.
That, for example, I have obesity and heart disease in my family, but at 69, I don't have either. And it's because I'm on an obesity and heart disease prevention program every day of my life. And so if you have Alzheimer's in your family, and Patrick, given that it's in your family, you should be on an Alzheimer's prevention program every single day of your life. No, you don't want that.
Yes, you know, I don't know what you mean by exactly an Alzheimer's prevention diet or what, but I mean, I think I live a Alzheimer's prevention lifestyle. I mean, I know that there are other things besides just diet and food that are very impactful for the brain, like exercising, socializing, communication with friends, family members, walking, you know, decrease the amount of sugar and processed foods and other, you know, elements into your body. But why don't you tell people kind of what are the top 3 ways of living a Alzheimer's, you know, reduction lifestyle?
So if really quick, I'll go through these bright minds and just give people a simple tip. But basically, you ask yourself this one question: whatever I'm doing, good for my brain or bad for it? And if you can answer that with information and love of yourself, love of your family, love of the reason God put you on earth, you're going to do so much better. So with bright minds, it's exercise. With retirement and aging, it's new learning. With inflammation, this is going to surprise people, flossing your teeth is like really taking care of your gums, because periodontal disease is associated with Alzheimer's disease. Genetics, it's being serious. H is head trauma. Do whatever you can to avoid it. So stop texting while you're driving. T is start reading the labels of the food, but also of the products you put on your body.
Right.
And thinking of alcohol as a health food, that's a lie. It's not. And or marijuana is innocuous. It's another lie, because it's not. The M is mental health. Learn how to, I call them kill the ants, the automatic negative thoughts that steal your happiness. Both of you know, because you're a political family, we live in an era of undisciplined thinkers, and thinking honestly, clearly, so important. The second I is immunity and infections. Know your vitamin D level and optimize it. I don't know if you know, but people with low vitamin D have smaller brains. That's not a hard thing to do. N is neurohormone disorders. Check your hormones at least once a year. We're in this epidemic of young males who have low testosterone levels. Like, why that? I think it's the toxins in our products. D is diabetes. You need to know how many calories you eat if weight's an issue for you. I think of calories like money, and don't overspend, but the quality, like in the bars you guys produce, the quality is more important than the quantity. And then S is sleep. It's don't bring your gadgets to bed, and target 7-8 hours a night. And if you do those things, your brain's going to be healthy as long as you're around.
Doctor, and it's something you said to me a long time ago. I think so many people are scared, you know, when it comes to their brain health. And they often think, oh, my brain doesn't work well, or if I have brain funk, there's nothing I can do. If I went to see Dr. Amen, I would just get a bad, you know, they might tell me like, I'm going to get Alzheimer's, or I'm too far down the road, or if I'm 60 and I've never done anything, or 50. What do you say to people who say that to them? Can you say, like, just get involved today and you can fix a lot of stuff that's bothering you?
I mean, I don't know if you know, but I did the big NFL study when the NFL was sort of telling the truth about traumatic brain injury in football at high levels of damage. So stop lying about it and just own it. 80% of my players get better when we put them on a brain healthy program. And so how exciting is that? See, if you never look, you never know. And I tell people, whatever we see is good news, because you have what you have, and now we're going to know what you have. So if it's healthy, we celebrate. If it's vulnerable, we rehabilitate. But if you never look, you never know. And I'm just not okay with flying blind. I think that's what the imaging taught me, is you want to know, and there's something you can do about it, which is so exciting.
What do you do about it? What do you do, like, if you're Patrick's age, or if you're my age and you know, haven't been on, as you said, an Alzheimer's prevention diet, or if you've grown up eating all the wrong foods? What do you do starting
today? You know, what I get really excited about is when you start the right supplements, the right foods, sometimes innovative treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Within just a couple of months, your brain already looks better. I do a show on Instagram called Scan My Brain. And this is about 18 months ago. I scanned Major League Baseball great Troy Gloss. He was the third baseman for the Angels, hit 321 home runs, and was the 2002 World Series MVP. But at 45, his brain looked terrible. And he had 4 concussions. He was drinking too much. And the scan really was a wake-up call for him. But I just love him because he did everything I asked him to do. 2 months later, his brain was dramatically better. 16 months later, his brain is even better. So I think.
What did you ask him to do? What did you ask him to do?
Supplements, change diet, lost 15 pounds in 2 months, and stopped drinking. Just those things. Supplements, changed his diet, stopped drinking. 2 months later, his brain radically better. Later on, we added hyperbaric oxygen, better still. But the longer you put your brain in a healing environment, every day, the brain makes 700 new baby stem cells in your hippocampus, the major memory center of the brain. But you know, Patrick, they stick around. For you and I, maybe not. You know, as we get older, blood flow goes down. But if the right thing, then those stem cells stick with us and our memory is helped. That's what I love so much, is seeing the follow-ups
Right.
with people who do the things.
So what did he feel a difference? I mean, I know so many people probably on here listening, and so many Americans in general, the thing that we want is to feel different, right? I mean, we're looking for quick results, unfortunately, always. And I'm just curious, did the player, or do a lot of your players that come in that see that 80% difference in their brain scans, do they feel different, or are they just coming in and looking for you to say, hey, your brain is doing better now?
No, everybody wants to feel better. And in our study, we published this study on our football players: better motivation, better sleep, better mood, better memory. And those are the things we target. And, you know, happiness ultimately is a brain function. And I wrote a book called You Happier. And what I found is low activity in the front part of your brain went with unhappiness. And so by strengthening the front part of your brain, you make better decisions, which of course makes you happy, but you just feel better overall.
When you talk about low blood flow, you know, I talk to so many people who are like, I'm tired, I can't concentrate, I can't think, I don't feel like I'm getting enough blood to my brain. How do you get more blood flow to
So, you know, I
brain?
often say brain health is three things: brain envy, you got to care about. Freud was wrong. He was too low in the body. Got to care about. Avoid things that hurt it, do things that help it. And so when it comes to the same thing, blood flow envy, you want to care about it. And it's a crazy statistic: 40% of 40-year-olds have erectile dysfunction. But you know, if you have blood flow problems anywhere, they're everywhere. That means 40% of 40-year-olds have brain dysfunction. And one of the big benefits of our program is people's love lives get better. So got to really care about blood flow, avoid things that hurt it: caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, marijuana, not exercising, and then do things that help it. So exercise, of course, is critical, but in your diet, things like beets, cayenne pepper, oregano, cinnamon, all increase blood flow. And my favorite supplement for brain health, because the prettiest brain I've ever seen, take ginkgo biloba. And so in the supplements from Brain MD, we have ginkgo in a number of our products. And so it's just becomes a priority. And if you have high blood pressure, you can't play with that,
Right.
because it increases your risk of stroke, but it damages your blood vessels. And then the other really terrifying statistic is 50% of the American population, 50% of the American population has diabetes or pre-diabetes.
Right. Right.
What's the problem with having diabetes or pre-diabetes? It makes your blood vessels less flexible. They become brittle and more likely to break. And so I think it is absolutely essential for us to get our blood sugar under control, because having high blood sugar, you know, I mean, they actually call diabetes type 3 Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. What do you recommend is the right A1C level? We hear in the Alzheimer's space, they always have a different take on what your A1C levels should be compared to when you go to your doctor, who says, well, this is normal, you're okay.
Well,
especially as you age.
There's a difference between normal, but none of us on this live want to be normal. We want to be optimal. We want to be our best.
Right.
And so I like it 5.2 or less. But if it's 5.7, you're already in the trouble zone. Less is better. And having an insulin level that is less is really important to have optimal ability for you to manage sugar. And quite frankly, we're being killed by the food industry because of the added sugars, which I'm so glad MOSH bars don't have that. The sugars are killing us with obesity and diabetes. There's a new book out I like a whole bunch called Brain Energy by Chris Palmer from Harvard, and basically advocating for a keto-like diet because it really helps to stabilize many people with mental health problems. It is an anti-seizure diet, and it clearly stabilizes blood sugar.
Our bars are keto, and that was also something that we thought long and hard about, because I think as people age, they have a more difficult time with sugar, right? Don't you find that as people age, they have a harder time metabolizing sugar, or their body doesn't accept it in the same way as when I was Patrick's age?
No, I think that's absolutely true. And, the incidence of type 2 diabetes clearly goes up with age. But now we're in this society where 20% of children are overweight or obese, and the incidence of type 2 diabetes in teenagers has just skyrocketed. Right. Have to be so much more thoughtful. And I don't know if you've seen the recent statistics on teenage depression, but it's truly horrifying that 7% of teenage girls are persistently sad, and 1 out of 8 have tried to kill themselves. I mean, it's just
crazy. And a lot of it goes hand in hand with loneliness, and the loneliness epidemic. And I know that's one of the key pillars towards brain health is, socializing and friends and family and things of that nature.
Right. I mean, and the pandemic really accelerated things.
One of the things you do, Dr. Amy, you came over for dinner and I've emulated you. You talked about the importance also of community, but also going to bed at night. Talk about your ritual, what you do when you go to bed every single night.
So much. And I've been doing it for about a decade. And so I say a prayer, and then I go, what went well today? And I go on a little treasure hunt where I start at the beginning of my day, and I hour by hour just looking for what made me happy. And, the trouble will come in, but I just sweep it away. I imagine a big broom sweeping it away because I'm like, now's not the time. I am purposefully setting my dreams up to be happier. And about 3 years ago, my dad died, and it was awful day. But my brain, because it's my habit, right? The brain's lazy. It does what you teach it to do. I went to bed and I was very sad, but my brain went to 3 parts of the day that were really beautiful. And then I went to sleep, which I know naturally I wouldn't have slept because I was so upset. So training your brain to see what's right rather than what's wrong will help you. And you probably know this study where they looked at nuns who had had done some autobiographical work when they were late teens and early 20s. And then they had that and followed them for decades. And so when they were 90, they went back and looked who was writing about their life from a hopeful, positive perspective versus what they didn't have. And the people who were positive, in fact, lived longer and were cognitively healthier. And I think it's a training thing, right? When I was in school, no one ever taught me not to believe every stupid thing I think. I was 8 years old, my psychiatric residency. One of my professors said, you have to teach patients not to believe everything they think.
Amen to that, right? Patrick, I always talk about to Patrick's friends about developing a meditation practice, about breathing, about all of these things we've learned. And it's so hard, I think, for so many young people to slow themselves down when they want everything immediately, right? Everybody wants to be the next founder of Facebook or the next founder of Uber, and they're working all the time, and they're having 3 espressos, and they're running from coffee shop to coffee shop, and they're, running. And so if you try to say stop and let's talk about what we're grateful for, or let's have a practice that gets us off our phone and into our life, it's challenging for people.
Well, we live in a society of immediate gratification. Right? The question all I have to do is ask Siri, and sometimes, not always, she'll give me the answer to the question. But slowing down, breathing, meditating, just taking time to decrease the cortisol in your brain. A lot of people don't understand that cortisol is a very important hormone, but it goes up when you are stressed, and cortisol puts fat on your belly and shrinks the hippocampus. So that's a very bad combination. And so meditation, diaphragmatic breathing, the right playlist, yoga can be just so helpful.
Wordle. That's my favorite thing to do every morning, Wordle.
That's a big thing. Does that help?
It helps the left front side of your brain. So when you do a workout for your brain, when you do new learning, you want to do lots of different things. If you're just playing word games or doing crossword puzzles, it's working the left front side of the brain. A much better brain game, my opinion, is table tennis, because you get to get your eyes, hands, feet work together while you think about the spin on the ball. And people who play racket sports, this is a replicated study on over 100,000 people. People who play racket sports live longer than everybody else. So this new pickleball probably good for our cognitive health.
All right. Well, I'm going to go play some pickleball, some tennis right now, or start getting my my ping pong table back out for summer. I have to hop, Mom. Sorry, I have to hop, guys. But I really appreciate it. You guys can stay on, but I have to go back to work. I love you guys. Mosh on.
Okay, mosh on, Patrick. Mosh
Thanks.
life. Mosh on. Let me just ask you, Dr. Amen, what do you eat in a given day? What's your lifestyle? What's your Alzheimer's?
So I do intermittent fasting. So if I stop eating at 7 at night, I won't eat till 11 the next day. Intermittent fasting has been shown to increase something called autophagy, which is your brain cleaning up the trash. And then I'll often make my wife a decaf almond milk cappuccino. I'm really good at that. And, I generally start the day with a shake with really healthy protein powder, some fiber, probably some blueberries, and I make something called smart mushrooms, which has lion's mane. I'm so excited you have that in the MOSH bars. And then I'll have a salad with some form of protein and healthy oils, avocado oil, olive oil. Every night I make brain healthy hot chocolate. So I have 2 things I'm going to share with people just really quickly. So unsweetened almond milk, a heaping teaspoon of raw cacao, and a little bit of chocolate flavored stevia. There's a company I like called Sweet Leaf. Put it in a blender. It's amazing. It's 6 calories. I love it, and it loves me back. So that's the secret with food, loving things that love you back. I've recently figured out how to make, so when I was a kid, 7-Eleven was around, and I go have a slushie, and obviously they're just, they are, but I love them, but they didn't love me back. So what I figured out is I could squeeze a lemon with some sparkling water, a little bit of stevia, put it in a blender, and it turns into a slushie, but it's good for me. So I'm very happy with my lemonade slushies these days.
What I love about that is love, as you said, you have found a way to make food that you love that loves you back. And I think you have practices that you love that love you back, which enable you to stay on them and make you feel like you're not giving something up or you're not doing something that you can't stick with for life. And you have passion, most importantly, also about your work.
It's so, if you're
Right.
connected to why you're on the planet, you live longer, you're happier. And if you love what you do, you want to be around for a long time to do it. So people go, when are you going to retire? It's like, never. It's like, well, why would I, what would be more fun, more purposeful? Clearly for me, not golf, because I just swear too much if I play golf.
But you love helping people, which is what I love about you. You love, first of all, you love your wife. You love being in love, which is beautiful because love looks good on you, looks good on you both. And our world really does need more love in it, right? Because when you're coming from a place of love where you feel love and you're giving out love, you're less rageful, you're less angry, you're less envious of other people, you're less attacking, right? So that's a very important quality that we all need to cultivate in one another, loving people for who they are, letting people love you, and you love helping people. You love helping them get to know their brains and feel better. So that's work that really is mission-oriented work. And you love trying to make a difference in people's lives, which is how our work brought us together, right? Our work brought us together. And which is what I love about working, whether it's in the women's Alzheimer's space or whether it's in MOSH. I'm meeting a whole new group of people that I met in my journalism or in politics or in my nonprofit work, right? I'm meeting people who are researchers and scientists and who are talking about food and talking about the brain in a whole new way that I never would have met had I not pursued what causes Alzheimer's and how do women age and what do we need differently. And had I not, started this bar company with Patrick, I meet a whole new range of people. It's just exciting. I keep learning all the time, as do you.
I love that so much, especially being able to work with your son on something you're passionate about. I mean, that's, I often say, it's not about me. It's about generation of me. And so to have your son be purpose driven as well and a business that helps other people, you're so blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I feel blessed, and I feel blessed for this generation, which has more knowledge and more information than our generation. Like, we didn't grow up, or maybe you did, but nobody talked to me about labels. Nobody talked to me about brain health. Nobody talked to me about Alzheimer's or diabetes. None of these things that so many young people are interested in. And there's a whole new kind of wellness movement that will benefit how people age, because we need young people. There are caregivers, unfortunately, on deck too, for the boomer generation that we come from, that occupies most of our hospitals and nursing homes.
I heard actually it was Bobby Kennedy Jr. Talking about politics. 83% of our healthcare dollars are spent on chronic, preventable illness. Think about that. We spend more money per person on healthcare, but we're not healthy because it's really not healthcare, it's sick care. And having a preventative mindset, you want to keep your brain healthy or rescue it, you have to prevent or treat the 11 major risk factors. Well, how exciting is it that you can do that? But our voices need to grow louder so that people don't have to suffer as much as they are suffering now.
And we have to make healthcare affordable and accessible to all, right? Because you get out into parts of this country, there are no hospitals, there are no doctors, there are no caregivers for the millions of people who need them. So these are political issues meet, you know, but each of us, you know, meet all of us, right? We're all going to need a caregiver at some point in our life, or we're going to be a caregiver at some point in our life. So the more we can make these issues about all of us and less divisive issues about political parties, and more just kind of issues of humanity, I think the better our country is and the better we all are off. Because, you know, this isn't really at all, these things aren't about politics. They're about making people healthy, helping people stay healthy, and not making only one segment of the population have access to affordable health care and good doctors. So we need more good doctors, we need more good nurses, we need geriatric doctors, and we need more good food like MOSH and more good doctors like you talking about how we can keep our brains healthy.
Well, that's our goal.
There we are. Well, I hope we will keep talking, and I'm going to come. I know you offered me many years ago to get my brain scanned, and I didn't do it, but I'm going to do it this
You
summer.
let me
How
know.
about that?
A good for you.
Okay.
I would love to do it because you have it in your family. So, but it's
I know. And I have a
but
wild
it's not
brain,
a death
so.
sentence. What I always say, it's
Yeah.
a wake-up call. And you know my friend Lisa Gibbons, and she's public. Yes, her mom
Very well.
and grandmother died with Alzheimer's. When I met her at 51, her brain was not healthy, but at 62, it was much healthier because she just had more knowledge, and that's the hope. I want you and I to be friends for the next 30 years with our brains intact.
I love it. You'll make me that chocolate smoothie at night. That's good. I like that. Dr. Amen, thank you so much. I love speaking to you always. Give my love to your incredible other half. And thank you for all you're doing in the world. And I'd love to do more of this. I always learn so much from you. And it's a great, and I'm reading all the comments. And so it seems like other people enjoyed it too. So thank you, Jenny Cohen. But thank you. What is the brain? You can go to Dr. Amen, and you can go to Amen Clinics right there. It's up there. And you can find out all about his brain scans there. And he helps so many people. And thank you all so much for joining. I really am so glad that we did this.
Me too.
It's been a long time coming.
And MOSH Life is SH Life.
MOSH. Here's the newest one. Cookies and Cream just came out yesterday. We have plant-based bars coming in September, coming out on World Alzheimer's Day in September. And my favorite one is cookies, chocolate chip, peanut butter chocolate chip, or cookie dough. But this will probably be my new favorite now, cookies and cream. So blueberry, I have all kinds. But anyway, it's been a ride. So wonderful. Thank you. You can get them at MOSH Life or on Amazon.
Thanks, Maria. Looking forward to.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.